out hunting or sighted a rifle, that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to put a sight on the weapon, like if anybody's ever used like a laser bore sighter, whatever the crosshairs for the needle are, sighted the gunner system, it's the same picture that we see in class. It's actually on the weapon. That should get you and target, right? So we can show you how it's done, but we can't actually run the entire zeroing process. I don't think they're going to let us shoot anything out of this. I can't tell you which one we're going to see. Not back the distance of the truck. I mean, like this one might be obscured. I can see it from here, but I may not be able to see it from back. Pick one of those points out there as our target point. Point, top left-hand corner, square on this particular structure that I can look across there, basically on that point.
Brazier.
Two poles that were out there, probably going to pick the left pole very top. Center of the crosshairs on. What he'll do, I'll look through this inside the cabin, up into the turret, and we'll make hand adjustments as with an elevation. Anyway. But what he said was -7.
5. We'll probably go to 5.
So the purpose of us being here is to put hands-on training for the warfighter, to test the IM-SHORAD system, to ensure that it's going to be capable of operating in a multi-domain operations fight. Okay. We're here, so the purpose of us being here is to test the IM-SHORAD system. This is we're supposed to get hands-on training on the vehicle and be able to tell what works and what doesn't work. So when it comes to a peer-to-peer fight, we've corrected the system and are able to actually use it in combat. All the way out here from Germany, we're going to be part of the first battalion that gets fielded. So what better than to send not only the first battalion who gets fielded it, but competent 14 Papas and 14 Alpha to get hands-on training for it. So the reason why this platoon is out here from Germany is we'll be fielding the first system into the actual Army, and so it not only gets us to test the system, but also understand how to use it so we can go back to our home unit and be able to train with those with our fellow soldiers. So I think it's really important for soldiers to get onto the system during this process, because soldiers are the best known way to break systems and be able to test it. They know they're going to do something that you might not think is something that you would normally do. They'll push some button combination, or they'll rotate and push, a a button, and the turret will just stop moving. And you would have never thought, well, why am I rotating the turret and pressing this button? But to them, that's something they thought was going to be natural, or how they thought they were going to use it. And if it breaks it, then they better understand what the warfighter is going to do and be able to actually fix those problems that might be found in this phase of the process. So coming from the Avenger system, the M-SHORAD system is a lot more survivable and maneuverable. Dealing with Stryker Brigade combat teams, we're better able to integrate and meet their needs and fill that gap that was identified, leading to the M-SHORAD system being developed. For the Avenger system, I think it's a easier transition. We're coming from a system that already had 360-degree capability, and so coming to the Stryker system and it being 360, it's really not a change in terms of that gunner, but it is a change in terms of how they're going to maneuver out in the field. Our tactics are going to change with it because the Avenger was primarily static, whereas this system's advantage is to be able to maneuver. And so it's definitely a positive and something that is very new to us, but we enjoy a lot. Testing is important because it gets after the directive requirements that were required, specifically in this case with the M-SHORAD system. It allows us to trust but verify that the system at a warfighter level is able to do what it was originally made to do. White Sands is great. We're really loving it here. It's a little bit different with the heat, going from about 70 degrees to about 113 when we were in quarantine. It's a little bit of a change, but you know, we've acclimated and we really like the change of scenery. Although, you know, with COVID, we're not able to travel, so that is always an unfortunate thing. We can't really enjoy everything that's here that White Sands has to offer, but we're able to get outside at least. So.
We've been training on the new advancement for the ADA. We have the IM-SHORAD Stryker. We've been here for a couple months and just training on this new weapon system so we can go back to Germany and train the new soldiers and the current soldiers for the new advancement. IM-SHORAD stands for Maneuver Short Range Air Defense. The armed vehicle for the soldiers to maneuver forward with any new operations, with new weapon systems, new capabilities to air defense. We have a new unit in Germany that trains specifically on the Avenger system for short air defense, and this new installment will be part of it for future operations. Since this is the new weapon system for the Army, we want to make sure this weapon system is 100% for the future and for current soldiers, for all advancement for ADA. There could be any defaults, there could be any errors into this weapon system. We just want to make sure everything goes right, from specifically since we're operators, we're currently working on the system, making sure every little detail on this weapon is on dot for future operations. No, it's actually been a great transition. There's a lot of equipment on this machine that could change a lot of aspects for the ADA. Everything from operations to capabilities to new weapons that we as ADA don't have currently, and I think it will make a huge difference. Hot, really, really hot. It's great to be back in the States. I haven't been back in the States for about 9 months because of COVID, but it's been great. It's a new adventure.
So IM-SHORAD, what we're doing right now is we're continuing prototype testing efforts. We began with early developmental testing of the vehicle. We're now moving to operational testing using soldiers. We've trained them on the usage of the vehicle. Now they're working on how to operate as a unit before going through an operational assessment with each other. Okay, so the developmental testing part is where we put the vehicle through its paces. We test the software, the hardware, the weapon system, the safety aspects of it, all the stuff to check out the vehicle prior to a soldier actually getting on. Okay. The operational test would be the actual soldiers going through the system. So this is one of those unique processes. Normally an acquisition program would be months, years in the making. We are actually less than a year from receiving our first prototype and doing rapid acquisition, getting the soldiers on it early, on in the process of the prototype, gives us a good benchmark of how far we've come, what are we doing well, what kind of things we can improve on to make it easier for them to operate the system. So it gives us a good check of where we are and where we need to bring the vehicle in the future. So actually it's pretty much right around the corner. Currently they're going through their training. They'll be going through an operational assessment to where we find out, okay, how well can they use the system. As long as we get a good report out of that, this unit's actually the first units can be receiving it early next year. So White Sands has been very supportive of not only PM-SHIELD but other program offices. We have a lot of experience working with the personnel out here. They're great to work with, easy to we go back. So they're great to work with. We have great rapport with them. Range support's excellent. We can actually exercise the full capabilities of the vehicle while we're out here and get the support required to keep the program moving forward. Everything's been great. We've been getting a lot of very good feedback. We did some new equipment training the past couple months, so they got the first hands-on experience with it. We've gotten a lot of very, very excellent feedback of what they liked, things that we can improve on, and you know, as they continue to put it through its paces, we'll learn a lot more to shape the vehicle in the way that they can fight with. So the ADA community, particularly this MOS of soldiers, have a gamut of sizes of soldiers that we go through, male and female. So one of the issues was being able to reach one of the launchers to reload. One of the fixes that we've already incorporated is a reload step. So anybody from the bottom 5th percentile all the way to the tallest soldier they have is able to safely reload their system. So the important part, especially getting the soldiers involved, getting all this testing allows us to get an outside assessment of how we are doing. It's easy to get caught up in what you're doing, how you're designing it, how you're explaining it to yourselves. Everything might look good on paper, on the board, but until we get through the testings and putting it through its paces, understanding what it's actually capable of, we won't know exactly if we're producing the right system for the soldier.